Welcome, welcome, family. Welcome. Welcome all. Welcome one. Come all. Come one. I hope all is well with you as it is with me this evening. I'm not going to be here too long, but because tomorrow morning, early in the morning, I'm going to be in about 5 hours going back live again. And I want to get a little bit of sleep, but I felt like this was an important discussion tonight. Idiocracy. Now, I hope many of you have seen the movie. It's an actual movie called Idiocracy. It's an interesting movie, and how do I say? It's hilarious, but at the same time, very telling about um, where we're headed if we don't wake up and realize who we are, what we are, and why we are. And just how programmed we have been in how in the way how we live, how we are. Um, because of the limited information we have. I would like to start out the video. I found this interesting video. I want to start out with this video. This guy is talking about I can relate to him. It's part of when my awakening happened, and I was like, within that, you come to a lot of realizations. A lot of realizations. So I'm just gonna let this be self-explanatory before I go in, and I'm gonna also be looking at a second video. Now, I haven't seen this all the way through, but it was like, this is me all the way. So I'm going to play this one.
Your boy Tim, back with another video. Was just out getting my exercise in this morning here on a little nature trail in Montana. And I remembered that everyone's been asking me to bring the walk and talks back. So I pulled the camera out of the backpack, slapped it on the selfie stick. We're going to walk, we're going to talk, we're going to have a good time. And today we're going to be talking about the American dream. Or more specifically, how I had to let go of the American dream to really start living my life. Now, I want to say real quick, I say American dream because I'm from America, okay? Feel free to insert whatever country or region of the world you want to. Wherever you're at, put that in there. But basically what we're talking about is whatever is the prevailing ideal of how you should live your life in your area, okay? I know the American dream involves getting good grades and then going to college or university so that you can get a good job and a great career, so you can have a 2-story house in the suburbs with a big backyard with a golden retriever in it and 3.5 kids and a Mercedes and or a BMW. Okay, this is the American dream, and there's nothing wrong with this dream. If that is your dream, cool, go for it. But the thing I've come to realize in life, and it took me a while, it took me well into my 30s to realize, is that the American dream is not for all of us. And I realized that the American dream was not for me. And in fact, living my life a lot of times unconsciously or subconsciously, living my life in a way trying to get the American dream or acquire the American dream was taking away from my happiness. And honestly, I realized this in hindsight. At the time, I was probably 33, 34, somewhere in there. I just realized this coming home from work and sitting on the computer watching a lot of videos about minimalism and simple living and things like that. And I just realized something was off. I just realized I wasn't happy. I was cool. My life was good, I cannot complain about my life at the time, but I just wasn't happy. And I realized over time, especially when I got deeper into like simple living and things like that, and I realized that life wasn't all about possessions. It wasn't about acquiring things. It wasn't about getting more money. Life is really about just like living with what you need, maybe a little more, and like enjoying yourself, being happy. And so I had to figure out like what was going to make me happy in this life. And as easy as that sounds, as simple as that sounds, that's a big step that I think a lot of us never get to. Okay, we just spend our life, I think most of us, going after these dreams. I was spending most of my life up into my 30s going after like the American dream because that's just what everyone told me to do. It's just, that's just what everyone said do. Okay, and as humans, we're societal creatures. We're social creatures, I should say. We like being around other people, and we take cues from other people. So if your whole life everybody's saying do this, you're going to do it. Even if you throw in some little variations here and there, you're going to do what everyone says to do.
The control factor.
But if it's not making you happy, like it wasn't for me, you have to stop and like ask yourself, what do I want to do? What will make me happy? And the thing is, if you ask yourself this, and you put in the time, and you do the self-analysis, okay, and you can get to a point where you can let go of what everybody else is doing, because that's part of it too. If you can ask yourself, what do I want to do? What will make me happy? And then you can deal with the ridicule and, maybe the people talking about you when you go after that stuff, then you can get happy. But a lot of times people will get to the first step and they'll identify, oh, okay, I would much rather be doing this. But when they start down that path, they can't take the ridicule. They can't deal with the ridicule. People start picking on them. People start talking about them. They can't deal with that. So they go back to chasing, this arbitrary dream that isn't making them happy. It's amazing that we will give up happiness in life a lot of times just so we don't have to hear nobody talk about us. That's how sensitive we are. That's how sensitive we are in this day and age. We can identify that we really want to be doing this over here. I'm going this way just so I can try to get those horses back there in the shot. Out here, Montana got horses out here. Anyway, yes, we will identify that over there might make me happy, but we'll go do this over here because if we go do that, people talk about us. But if you can sit down and do the work and realize what will make me happy, and then actually go after that, you can get happy. If the American dream or whatever dream your parents and your guidance counselor and your professors are trying to sell you on isn't working for you, find one that will. Sometimes you have to let go of the American dream to go after your dream. And I feel so blessed that like I was able to identify this. I don't know what shifted. I think I just got to the point where like I was just so like, I'm like, if I have to live this life, I'm going to live it doing things I want to do. If I have to be here, instead of, some people go the opposite direction and they're just like over life. This life sucks. It's all suffering. I'm unhappy. I'm done with life. I feel blessed that I was like, no, I think this life thing is awesome. I think this life thing is pretty cool. I just have to figure out how to get out of it, like what I want out of it. I want joy. I want happiness. I want laughs. I want to have a good time. How can I do that? Because for a while, I wanted a BMW. I wanted a condo downtown, things like that. That was my next level for a while. But, the more I kind of went after those things, the more I failed.
My problem was when you get all these fancy things, the society we live in, they made these cars that we admire and we love so much, where we have to keep spending money to maintenance it. But I know that if we made cars, it would be different. It wouldn't be where people would have to keep, well, we'd be eating off of people. We wouldn't be um I guess I'm saying a world where you're not being taken advantage of. But and I know that cars can be made better than the way cars are made today. So I guess this is why I'm not fascinated with automobiles anymore like I used to be. Because in my experience, the BMW I used to own, it, its parts were foreign, so it was way expensive to maintain that. And almost any car it's almost crazy to maintain. So when you look at the American dream is about pretty much draining you. It's draining. It enslaves you. You are enslaved by time and money. That's the tools that are used. Time and money.
To get them for whatever reasons, and the more like unhappy I got. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this. Like, I want to live. I'm not depressed anymore, not suicidal anymore. I want to live, but like, I got to be happy, you know? And one of the things for me, and it's different for everyone, one of the things for me was like, I identified that like, I wanted to travel. I wanted to see some stuff. Florida's a cool state. I've lived there most of my life, but I was ready to see some other stuff. Not to mention Florida's a crazy state. I was ready to go to some states and see some stuff, that aren't so crazy. I just wanted to explore. I wanted to see more. And I was like, I think that will make me happy. I think that will make me happier than having a condo in downtown Gainesville, Florida, and a nice job, okay, and a BMW that I really can't afford. That's another thing too. A lot of times in chasing the American dream or chasing societal standards, we can't really afford it. Because you'll notice all the dreams involve typically you going into massive amounts of debt. Think about it. Every dream, every dream society sells you, typically involves you going into massive amounts of debt. Because that's why they came up with the dream. Because if you analyze it and you take it back, the people at the top of the pyramid come up with the dream for all of us under them on the pyramid. And while we're chasing this dream, we end up enriching them at the top. Think about it. All this stuff in the American dream or whatever dream people want you to chase typically involves you paying money out to other people. Think about it. I said, I don't want to do that. If I'm going to pay out some money, it's going to be for things I want, like plane tickets or hotels, in Thailand. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, if I have to pay out money, it's not going to be for these arbitrary possessions that you said I need to have in order to be, like, successful. I'm air quoting successful because success is relative. But a lot of times we just pick up the ideal of success that everybody else around us picks up. I'm done with that. I let go of the American dream. I let go of the ideals of success that other people have. And I was like, I want to start doing what I want to do. Like, this life ends, right? This life ends. And I was like, for the rest of my life, I want to.
It's your life. So you have to do you. Your success is what you determine success is. My success is what I determine success as. Too many times we allow others to define our lives, define what is supposed to be, what life is supposed to be for us. And they can't do that. No one can do that. So, are we living in the ridiculous? At times, I think so. But I'm going to digress. Oh my God. I went all the way. Okay, I hope I didn't.
More money. Life is really about just like living with what you need, maybe a little more, and like enjoying yourself, being happy. And so I had to figure out like what was going to make me happy in this life. And and the thing is, if you ask yourself this, and you put in the time, and you do the self-analysis, okay, and you can get to a point where you can let go of what everybody else is doing, because that's part of it too. You know, if you can ask yourself, what do I want to do? What will make me happy? And then you can deal with the ridicule and, you know, maybe the people talking about you when you go after that stuff, then you can get happy. But a lot of times people will get to the first step and they'll identify, oh, okay, I would much rather be doing this. But when they start down that path, they can't take the ridicule. They can't deal with the ridicule. People start picking on them. People start talking about them. They can't deal with that. So they go back to chasing, you know, this arbitrary dream that isn't making them happy. It's amazing that we will give up happiness in life a lot of times just so we don't have to hear nobody talk about us. That's how sensitive we are. That's how sensitive we are in this day and age. We can identify that we really want to be doing this over here. I'm going this way just so I can try to get those horses back there in the shot.
I'm kind of far off. Okay.
I think this life thing is awesome. I think this life thing is pretty cool. I just have to figure out how to get out of it, like what I want out of it. I want joy. I want happiness. I want laughs. I want to have a good time. How can I do that? Because I got to be happy, you know? And one of the things for me, and it's different for everyone, one of the things for me was like I identified that like I wanted to travel. I wanted to see some stuff. You know, Florida's a cool state. I've lived there most of my life, but I was ready to see some other stuff. You know, not to mention Florida's a crazy state. I was ready to go to some states and see some stuff, you know, that aren't so crazy. You know, I just wanted to explore. I wanted to see more. And I was like, I think that will make me happy. I think that will make me happier than having a condo in downtown Gainesville, Florida, and, you know, a nice job, okay, and a BMW that I really can't afford. That's another thing, too. A lot of times in chasing the American dream or chasing societal standards, we can't really afford it. Because you'll notice all the dreams involve plane tickets or hotel. Like, this life ends, right?
There we go. This
life ends. And I was like, you know, for the rest of my life, I want to spend it doing things I want to do. And I don't care if people pickle me. I don't care if people laugh at me. I don't care if people don't understand it. Like, I feel like it's going to make me happy. Because when I was saying this, I hadn't started doing all this stuff. I didn't know 100%, but I just had the idea. And I think all of us do. That's part of it too. All of us somewhere know the things we want to do that will make us happy. We might be afraid to do them. We might be scared to do them, but we know. And I just knew, I was like, I want to travel. I want to see other things. So for me, and anyone who follows the channel knows the story, started doing seasonal work, working at different national parks around the country, which is amazing. It's beautiful. You know, I went to these places. They paid me to work there. They gave me room and board. Yellowstone Glacier, worked right outside Rocky Mountain National Park. I saw so many things I'd never seen before. I met people from all over the country, all over the world. Just amazing. Just amazing. I went from mowing grass and coming home to my empty one-bedroom apartment in Gainesville, Florida, to like, you know, the first seasonal job I took was in Yellowstone, right out at the Old Faithful Inn. You know, that's a world famous landmark. I went from being in the middle, like being nowhere, just and no one really like knowing I existed, I felt like sometimes, to being like working at a worldwide recognized like landmark, tourist attraction. People from all over the world showing up every day. Like I was in the mix. You know, I got new friends. Like it just boom. Like it just for one day I was living this other life. 2 weeks later, I was living this other life and loving it. And I knew it was the best decision ever. And I was like, you know what? For so long, I've been trying to live life the way everyone else said I should be living it. Wasn't making me happy. As soon as I decided, like, I'm going to start living on my own terms, and I put in the work to do it. I do want to mention, too, like, I had to do a lot of uncomfortable things. Okay? I had to let my apartment go. Sold my car. I sold my car, got a little scooter, eventually sold that scooter. You know, quit the job. You know, very uncomfortable. Because I was doing all this to go and work in a national park halfway across the country for a company I'd never heard of. The interview was over the phone. I'd never met these people. Like, it was uncomfortable. And that's the thing too. Sometimes it will be very uncomfortable to chase after your dreams. Letting go of the American dream, or letting go of the dream that everyone else around you tells you is the right way to do it, and that's how you get security. It'll be scary. It will be uncomfortable. You will question yourself many, many times. Many times. I was like, Tim, what are you doing? You know, now, fortunately, I had some people in my life that, even though they didn't understand what I was doing, they didn't try to talk me out of it. Some of you will have people who try to talk you out of it. But you just have to realize your dreams aren't their dreams. We're all unique individuals with free will. So, like, why would the universe, God, whatever, create us all with free will and all with unique, like, things we enjoy if it didn't want us to, like, do those things? If we were meant to be put on this planet, on this earth, and all do the same thing, then why even have free will? Why not just program it into us? Why not just pre-program the American dream into us? But no, we're put here, and we have these desires and these urges to do other things because that's what, in my opinion, the universe, the source, the creator wants us to do. I mean, look at it this way. Imagine you have 3 kids. Do you want all 3 of your kids to be the exact same kid and they all do the same thing and they all like the same things? No, you like that, like, the one kid is the weird nerdy one and the other kid is the athlete and the other kid is just totally lazy and does nothing. You like that. You like that. It adds spice and variety to being a parent, I would imagine. The same is true, I think, with the source, the creator of the universe. It wants us all to, like, be different and take advantage of those different desires and urges and likes that is put in us. But if we're all out here just, like, chasing after one thing, that's boring. And not to mention, it won't make us happy. I think your ultimate happiness comes when you're being the most genuinely you. And the genuine you has dreams and has goals. I know you do. You're thinking about it right now. The genuine you has goals and dreams and things that, you know, that it wants to do, that you want to do. But you have to let go, like, really let go. You have to realize, like, hey, there's this other thing out here, this other dream out here that everybody else believes is the way to happiness. For some people it is, but obviously it's not for me. Let me try my dreams out. Let me try my dreams out. Here's the thing. You can always go back to the American dream. You can always go back and live the life your parents want you to live. You can always do that. You can always go back and live the life that other people, society, are telling you to live. But why not, for once in our lives, why don't we just take the time, let that go for a while, and go after the things we want to do? I don't care how crazy they sound. What's wrong with, there's a ton of people living life like crazy people out here. This one thing about crazy people, you ever notice how happy they are? When I say crazy, I'm not talking about people with mental illness, but like the people that we call eccentric or crazy. You ever notice how happy they seem? You ever notice how happy that one crazy lady who marches by the beat of her own drum at the end of the cul-de-sac? You ever notice how happy she seems? That's the thing about people society deems crazy. They're super happy. They're super happy. And when you are living a life that makes you happy, the noise from other people telling you you're living wrong or picking on you or ridiculing you gets very quiet. Okay, somebody asked me the other day, they were like, Tim, do you feel like you're behind in life? And during a live stream, it's like, Tim, do you feel like you're behind in life? And like, it hit me because it was one of those, I never thought about it. Not something I ever think about. So it kind of hit me. But then also I was like, that's a great question. You know, that is a great question. The fact that it doesn't hit me or I don't think about it just shows like how little now I feed into other people's opinions. Because there was a time I would have been like, oh man, I'm 41, about to be 42 in like 3 months. Don't have all this other stuff. I don't have a house, don't have a career. Never been married, no kids. There was a time I would have been like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I have all these things? But now that I'm living, a life that like I want to live. Okay, and I'm traveling, and I'm not spending my life, at a 9 to 5 all the time, and I'm just kind of, living on my own terms and trying to find ways to support myself on my own terms. Now that I'm doing that, and it makes me so happy, Now that I'm out here trying to motivate people, things like that. Now that I'm doing that, I'm so happy that I don't even think about the other lifestyle. I don't think about the American dream. I don't compare myself with the American dream. It's not even on my barometer anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think about it. That's other people. If they want to do that, cool. But for me, the metrics like I measure myself on are metrics that involve my way of life. Am I pushing the envelope? Am I leveling up? Where am I going to travel to next? Like, how can I motivate people more? Things like that are what I care about. I just don't hear, every now and then someone will, hop on this channel, or I might meet someone in real life and they have something to say. I just kind of look at how happy they are. Not to judge, it's not a competition. But my thing is, like, if you're not as happy as me, I'm probably not going to I'm probably not going to listen to your advice. Like, if you're just parroting back what society has told you is how you should live your life, I'm probably not going to listen. I mean, I'll listen, but I'm probably not going to take it in. Because once you start going after your dream, even if you haven't like got to that dream yet, you just get happy in like the doing. The journey makes you happy. When you're going after something you really want to do in life, the journey makes you happy and brings you joy. That is one thing that when I was chasing the American dream did not happen. I was not happy chasing the American dream. The journey was draining. The journey was exhausting because it was decades, it felt like, and I wasn't getting there. I wasn't getting any closer. But it's crazy, now that I'm doing the things I want to do in life, the journey makes me happy. Even little baby steps make me happy. Any little thing in line with putting me closer to my dreams, or a lot of the dreams I've already kind of accomplished, and then I just set new ones. Like, it's just so much joy, so much happiness. I really feel like I'm alive. Like, every day is an adventure. Like, every day, I'm smiling, I'm excited. Like, this didn't happen before. Before, it always seemed negative, and I wasn't where I needed to be, and I was always trying to like get something. Now I'm just doing. Now I'm just existing. If that makes any sense. Now this is my life and I'm living it. I'm trying to enjoy it to the fullest. I'm doing things that make me happy. I'm not out here trying to acquire. There are things I want to do, and I do try to level up, but it's different now. It's different now. Before, it just seemed like it was every single day. You need to have more. You need to have a better job. You need this. Now it's not needs. It's just like there's some things I want. But I really, in hindsight, I look back and I'm so happy that I was able to just like let go of the American dream, let go of what society says I needed to be doing, and just like start living Tim's dream. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. Start living your dream, and I promise you, you will be happier. Life will get so much better. You will be living a life that like you can live in the moment. You can live day to day. There'll be so much joy, so much happiness, and you'll just love being alive. I can't even really put into words the amount of happiness you get when you start chasing after your dreams and stop going after society's dreams. Anyway, I'm Tim. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, family. Hey, Mr. Parrot Brain. Okay, before I get into this next video, of course, in the description, it talks about how, and of course, you got the little photo of the cave beasts fighting each other, the man and the masculine and the feminine fighting against each other and beating each other upside the head with billy clubs. That's not us. That's not supposed to be us, but that's the situation. That's the predicament they twisted through switchery and put us in that condition where we're mindlessly focused on nonsense. We're focused on nonsense while we're literally prisoners of war. And now we're at the point where we should recognize that we are prisoners of war, and our circumstances are beyond It's not, we're not at fault for our circumstances, by no means. But what we are at fault of is not recognizing the hand that put us in our circumstances. Stockholm syndrome is most is the most is the most likely thing that is the issue amongst us. And not knowing exactly where we are because of the illusion of equality. Got a lot of our people delusional and banging each other upside the head and blaming each other for the situation that we should know, um, that it's just, it's like, it is really, I would say, wicked witchcraft at its best. And like I said, I hope y'all saw that movie Idiocracy. It's a free movie on YouTube. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't. I guess they don't allow you to play the movies. As I learned from my video a few months back, I tried to play a movie and it got taken down, and I think I got a strike against me. So don't want to do that again. But definitely check out Idiocracy. It shows a society after, I guess, 50. It went to the year 2050, and everybody was just out of their minds. And it's very telling if you just see it. You got to see that movie. It's too hilarious. But I'm not going to harp on just that movie. I want to get into how, I agree with the guy. We must let go of people telling us that this is the way to live. It's no one set way to live. Um, we are unique in, we have been colonized, we have been taken prison, we have forced to live a certain way, basically. It's been forced upon us. Our tongue has been taken, our language, our whole um, view of the world around us has been altered, and view of ourselves also has been greatly altered as well. So, you know, I said before that Trump Trump, in a way, I said Trump has been ordained, right? Ordained. And he's been ordained for these times and these days. Um and I'm gonna get into the video. by an old order. So let's get into the video of his hold on, let me stop sharing and not share it on there. Video of his a relative of his wrote a book about
terrorist Trump mob laid siege to the U.S. Capitol on January 6th.
okay,
President Biden.
hold on. Okay. They haven't let up on him, but he's coming back. And in this spiritual war, we can't take sides. We can't get into it. All we can do is know that the ancestors are at work for us on this. That's why we can't put our hands in it, because when we put our hands in it, we're going to mess it up. So this is them talking about Mary Trump. She says Donald Trump would end American experiment for his empowerment. This is what she wants you to think, but I don't know. I know they all wicked, but I know that Trump is here to take it down. And when he takes the wicked regime down, all I know is it'll be good for us.
Biden today awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor to Capitol Police officers and others who defended our democracy that day and stressed the need for a full accounting.
Democracy's a
My fellow Americans, the tragedy of that day deserves the truth above all else. We cannot allow history to be rewritten. We cannot allow the heroism of these officers to be forgotten. We have to understand what happened. The honest and unvarnished truth.
Last month, 21 House Republicans opposed the legislation bestowing Congress's highest honor to the people who saved their lives, objecting to the use of the word insurrection. In her new book, Mary Trump, Donald Trump's niece, examines how our national pathology paved the way for the disgraced, twice impeached former president and the depravity of his enablers. In The Reckoning, Our Nation's Trauma and Finding a Way to Heal, she writes, "We are going to be dealing with the consequences of the Trump administration, the pandemic, and particularly the insurrection of January 6th for a very, very long time. Just as we are going to be confronting the fact that 74 million people."
You see this Black woman reporting this, right? She can't see that this is what I call idiocracy right here. She can't see. She's living the American dream, right? But she is not getting anything out of this at all. At all. She thinks she's getting something out of it. But you all say that, what's the saying? How the saying goes, they get their nigger moments eventually. So she's on here talking about Marielle Trump's book about Trump and how they're trying to paint this picture about Trump. And the people that look like you and me that get on that bandwagon, they can't really see their truth. She can't see her truth. She really can't see what is really going on. And all the lies, and we know that she works for the 1%. They own all the media. And she's programmed and trying to program a lot of our other people. And they always stick someone that's heavy melanated up in front of the camera to pass this information on. And that is just to get our people to really think that this is the truth. This is the truth. When it's not. It's about, it's just pulling us into that, pulling us down to idiocracy, basically. Let me finish it up.
Wanted 4 more years of whatever they thought they got in the last 4. The book highlights the GOP's complicity with the big lie, taking aim at those in the sedition caucus who repeated his claims in the lead up to the deadly insurrection and continue to this day. She writes, quote, Donald is an instinctive fascist who is limited by his inability to see beyond himself. Or, as the historian Timothy Snyder puts it, his vision never went further than a mirror. Still arguing about whether or not to call Donald a fascist is the new version of the media's years-long struggle to figure out if they should call his lies lies. What's more relevant now is whether the media and the Democrats will extend the label of fascism to the Republican Party itself. I'm joined now by Mary Trump, author of The Reckoning, Our Nation's Trauma and Finding a Way to Heal. I have the book here. Mary, thank you so much for being here. I always love talking to you because you're just always so blunt and honest. And I love a blunt sister. I love it when a lady is blunt. You talk about fascism in the book, and it's something that Mehdi Hassan has talked about. It's something Chris Hayes, I've talked about it, and we normally get slammed for using the word fascism. But to your point, this is what David Frum wrote in The Atlantic recently. He said there's a word for what Trumpism is becoming. 2 traits have historically marked off European-style fascism from more homegrown American traditions of illiberalism, contempt of legality, and the cult of violence. Presidential-era Trumpism operated through at least the forms of law. Presidential-era Trumpism glorified military power, not mob attacks on government institutions. Post-presidentially, these past inhibitions are fast dissolving. Do you believe that your uncle is a fascist and that his party, the Republican?
So why can't that apply to Biden? Biden went over to, he just ordered a strike on what? Mali over in Africa? Did I get that right, family? He's been in other countries. He's been dictating to everybody, but yet she can't see her own uncle. She can't see Biden, but she sees her own uncle. Now, you all know that Biden done more dictating, and I didn't hear Trump do any dictating. Trump didn't use the military much. And I would have to say that Trump didn't go and execute anyone. He didn't go and say, murder our puppets. Because he didn't do that. He didn't buy into puppets. He said countries need to take care of themselves. But these countries weren't taking care of themselves. They were still puppets because there was another government going on while Trump was in office, doing other things, still pulling strings. Man, they were over in Africa, Democrats, when Trump was in office. They were doing a lot. Democracy. It's all a lie. All a lie. But she can't see. She only sees her uncle.
Party is now a fascist party.
There's no doubt about it, and we need to be very clear about that. Part of the problem, part of the reason we got here is that we've never, and by we, I really do mean the majority, the white Americans, honestly, because the failure to hold powerful men white men accountable and white supremacy go hand in hand from the beginning of our history. So we need to be very clear with our language.
So she needs you, needs Black people, to save. She's hiding white supremacy while telling on white supremacy. She wants us to actually protect it.
Because everything really is at stake.
And because if he's going to take down America, down America, wouldn't that hurt white supremacy?
And by dancing around it, by being polite, people aren't going to understand that. And I'm afraid the Democratic Party doesn't quite understand that, because this is nothing new. One of the reasons we're here is because we have never faced the fact that there have been fascistic tendencies in this country since the beginning. The Jim Crow South was a closed fascist state, while America was pretending to be the beacon of democracy for the rest of the world.
But America did not have to be a democracy for the rest of the world. Democracy is not what they say it is. And the reason why I say it's not what they say it is, it's good we have our Constitution. That was the greatest thing that could happen in this country. But what is bad is that we have this thing called democracy, which is covering up, is a cover for white supremacy. Because people were enslaved in this country. People have been mistreated and lied to and told. We were fed the delusion of inclusion and equality. We know we're not equal. And we know we never will be equal. So we got to question, why did we buy into it?
That is actually absolutely true. And I wonder if you think that part of the issue here is that even when confronted with sort of mass death, really at the hands, because of Donald Trump, I mean, he was literally willing to let 500, 600, 700, maybe 1,000 people die, right? Because of COVID, because all that mattered to him were his own pecuniary interests. Why do you suppose that mass death didn't break the connection between the people in that party and your uncle?
I think part of it is because he made them feel that they were so superior that they would be immune to it. That's only part of the explanation, though, because a lot of people who have
What sense is that? I'm sorry. What sense is that?
loved ones die from COVID still think it's a hoax or still think that they're going to be immune from it somehow. In fact, I think part of it is something that Ruth Ben-Ghiat mentioned, which is that over time, people on the right have gotten more comfortable with death. In other words, the value of human life has lessened. And one of the very important reasons for that is the gun culture, too. So it's all kind of wrapped up together, and it's going to be really difficult to turn that around as well.
Right, and I think because that is sort of one of the elements of fascism, right? Is the idea that if the right people are dying, it doesn't matter. You wrote this in this book. You wrote, COVID is directly affecting every single person on the planet, creating an even greater opportunity to unite us around this common cause. Imagine if Donald's administration had led a global response to COVID. A real leader would have said, "I don't care about politics or my reelection. My mission is to do everything in my power to save lives." But Donald and his henchmen couldn't even see their way to getting help to states that didn't kiss Donald's ass sufficiently. You know, I've taken a lot of heat for having said back in September that if Donald Trump remained president, I wouldn't trust anything that was coming out in terms of vaccines that he was offering, and that it was difficult to trust the CDC after he warped it so thoroughly, and that even if he wasn't president, it would be difficult to restore that kind of trust. But I said that because in my mind, a psychopath was president. And if a psychopath is telling you this vaccine, which is really for my reelection, is what you should take, there's a good reason not to trust that. But now there's not a psychopath in the White House. Do you think that there's some way to shift kind of?
What? Is it just me, or did she just say? Yeah, they're both. Yeah, they both are. But what I'm saying is, we got to realize there's an in-house battle going on, and that um, one wants America a different way. One wants America another way. If it has anything to do with bringing down something, I'm all for that. I'm all for the bringing down of America and ending its tyranny of mistreatment of people. I'm all for that. I'm all for the corporation being broken down and rid of.
The attitudes of people who are just hesitant based on the fact that, look, guys, there's not a madman there now. You should really think about it. Do you know, how do we even get to that conversation?
Well, I think the Delta variant is doing a lot of the work for us, and worse variants coming down the pike are going to continue to do that as well. Unfortunately, at the cost of more, it's needless human death, including many, many children who are now getting sick and dying. But it's complicated by the fact that the right is very good at mirroring the left's strategy.
She's a sociopath. She's a sociopath. Because what she's saying is lies. She's repeating lies.
Strategies. We rightly call them fascist. They erroneously and falsely call us Marxist, communist, socialist, whatever that means. We rightly say, I am skeptical that a mass murderer can be trusted when it comes to a vaccine, because he's likely to, just say it's effective to gain voters, right? Whereas now we rightly say you can trust the government in this instance. So it's we're in a bit of a bind, shall we say?
You can trust the government when it's in the hands of someone sane. I think that's the point, and it's hard, I guess, to make that point anyway subtly. You write this about the big lie. Let's talk about this, because
And they think Biden is sane. They think Biden is sane. More like insane. More like insane.
this is the thing that is now posing a national security threat to this country. That's what Christopher Wray, the FBI director, has said. And you write about the big lie. You said when your motive is not simply winning at all costs, but grievance and revenge, you're more dangerous than a straight up sociopath. Donald is much worse than that. He's someone with a gaping wound where his soul should be. Do you believe that your uncle is a psychopath?
I haven't read the book in a while, so I'm a little surprised at how I really did not pull my punches.
You did not. You never do.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh, but true. Is he a sociopath? I don't think it matters. He's somebody who's directly responsible for hundreds of thousands of American deaths. He's somebody who's directly responsible for the kidnapping and incarceration in concentration camps of children. He's somebody who was willing and continues to be willing to end the American experiment so he can stay in power and he can avoid accountability, which is so necessary. The truth is great. The historical truth is very important, but without accountability, that's how we get here. In fact, I believe it was Brian Stevenson of the Equal Justice Initiative who said the North won the war, but the South won the narrative. And that's one of the very most important reasons we are where we are today.
Yeah, I have to ask this question. It is sort of an elephant in the room. You were on The View the other day, and it occurred to me, we were talking about this in the meeting, the fact that, Ms. Meghan McCain did not show up for the meeting. I was with Sunny actually in Mexico shortly before that, so I know she wasn't even feeling super well, but she did show up and she was there. Meghan McCain was not. Are you concerned that the people who style themselves as normal Republicans, as sort of old-time Republicans and not Trumpist Republicans, are still as resistant to confronting the truths that you're putting forward as the MAGA Republicans? So they're not willing to even have that conversation with you. Does that concern you, that the people who most need to hear, and in theory would be the most reasonably open to your arguments, will still not discuss it because of partisanship?
It concerns me greatly, but I'd also add quickly that Democrats are going to have a problem facing these truths as well, some of them.
Yeah, our people are like, I don't know. It's almost as if we don't want, you got to realize these people are fighting like hell to keep the America the way it is. But we shouldn't be the ones that want it to maintain business as usual. Because like I said, time and money is a way we are entrapped here. When America is broken down, the monetary is broken down. See, we got to go through that. That's what needs to happen. So there's no worrying about racism at that point, because it's not our fight. It's not our fight. It's their fight. But if we're believing in that you see, in our minds, we think about equality and we think that we're actually benefiting something out of this society when we're not gaining anything. Nothing. And that's why, for us, because it's not our path, it's not our nature, the way things are, we're out of our, like I said, we're out of our state. We're not in our proper state. So we have chaos going on amongst us. Our male and our feminine are just out of whack and out of balance. We're not together. We're dysfunctional. It's horrible. It's hard. We're at the lowest. But we don't want to go into idiocracy. We want to get out of the idiocracy. Because, like I said, our circumstances are not contribute to any fault of our own. We are prisoners of war. But sometimes we make like we think we're delusional. We think we're not. That doesn't mean that we can't strive for better. And that's what I know our solution is when we recognize our truth and where we're at, the condition, who we are, knowledge. Knowledge is always power. Who we are, what we are, why we are. I've always said that we're more than this physical body. And we have to be more. And be above all this. And not allow ourselves to go down their rabbit holes whatsoever. All my life I never always fighting against the grain. I said no, no, no. And that's what we should say. Instead of falling into the traps that are laid out before us. Use our psychic abilities, our intuition, all the gifts that we've been given in our present. So, like I said, I'm not going to be on here long. I'm getting sleepy. And I got to get up in a few hours, anyways, if I can wake up. So, thank you, DOD, and Mr. Parrot Brain, and those of you in the clouds. Thank you, guys. for being here. I just wanted to, because the discussion that I was listening to tonight was like, we cannot generalize we cannot afford this, because the war is against us. They're fighting each other, but at the same time, the plot is to get us. So what we have to do, we have to put our minds on the important things. And the most important thing is our experiences, our life. We cannot allow war to just be upon us and do nothing. We just can't allow it, because it's taking us to idiocracy, and we don't want to go there. So, with that said, family, y'all get some rest. Have a great, beautiful dreams, astroplane travel, because I'm going to try to tonight. So, with that said, true love, real peace, the higher self within, the soul. Till next time, peace.